All right, let's get this going, up and running. What's up, guys? The Strong Boys 19 here. Hope you are doing very well. Zach D Productions, I just saw your comment saying first. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for coming into the stream. And I appreciate anyone, as always, who would want to, you know, participate for these kinds of streams. You know the drill, as I always say, these kinds of things, but without any hassle, without any hesitation. As usual, this is going to be an update video and an Hangout live stream. So obviously, it's going to be showing you guys which albums I've bought first, and to spice it up for this point, it's going to be a music Q&A. If you guys want to ask me anything in this stream, please do it in the chat, because I'm also going to read out the answers to the questions a few of you guys have sent me from my announcement video. So bear with me, I'm going to open the tab up. Only a few questions, but that's all right. That's fine by me. Yeah, so I have got them right now. Zach D Productions commenting on the stream. Having a bit of a rough week, had to quit my job now, and now I'm dealing with harassment from co-workers there. Dude, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. So I had to confront my workplace today and reported the issue. Yes, I did see your post about it. If there is a place that you're not happy with, and more importantly, if it's not making you happy mentally and emotionally because of other people, if you wanted to quit, you have made the right choice, because harassment is totally unacceptable, and whoever these co-workers are to make you feel like shit, you know, they can fuck off, basically. But I really hope you will be better soon. I know you've had a bit of a difficult time recently. I'm very sorry to hear about the losses from a few of your family members, and my heart goes out to you, Zach. I know I've mentioned it to you privately on Instagram, but what I said there is something that I wanted to say, and do not forget that you are a cool friend of mine who's definitely an important one in this world. I know there are other things going on for other people's minds in their depressions or mental health, but there's just always this very simple thing of not being afraid to reach out to anyone who you want them to give you the helping hand and with their advice. There's other people out there who would want to help others who are in the worst of times and the worst of, the worst of these emotions. But Zach, please do stay strong as best as you can. And if you want to keep in contact with me on Instagram, please do not hesitate. Yeah, when I quit, I have questioned myself if I've made the right decision or not. But it's clear I did. Yeah, you did make the right choice. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you being here, Zach. And no matter how your mental health has been so difficult in your life, and with the recent things that have been scarring for you, never forget that there are other people in this world who will be by your side. Mindful28, how's it going? Good to see you once again. I am doing very well. I've just been talking to Zach D Productions. Well, as if like I'm talking to him face to face. We're reading his comments here. But it's so unfortunate that we don't know these demons in these people's minds of what they're thinking about, what they're going to do to these people. But no matter who you are, no matter what you do, if anything treats you like garbage, or if anyone treats you like garbage, reaching out is the most obvious thing ever, but it is so important. And I think you have done very, very well to stand your own ground, to be who you want to be, Zach. So anyways, after that start from my personal few minutes, it's time for the update. Yes, there is a glass of water I decided to put in that empty cup. And I'm going to start things with the updates. Before we get to the music Q&A part, I haven't bought a lot of records this month. I only bought one. I bought this from a charity shop. And I think this is an original pressing through A&M Records. This is Burt Bacharach's record called Portraits in Music. And I really enjoy some Burt Bacharach. A wonderful musician, and this is the first Bacharach album I have ever bought. And if you look at this gatefold sleeve, have a look at the Definitely Maybe album cover by Oasis. This is the exact same record, as Bacharach was one of Noel Gallagher's favourite musicians, and some of the songs he had written is wonderful. You know, it's wonderful to listen to them. You know, they are just lovely, joyful, and memorable stuff. I haven't listened to the record yet, but I did have a look at it. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. If it's not an original, it's probably one of the early pressings. But yeah, I enjoy some Burt Bacharach. So I'm pleased to have that. I rarely listen to solo artists who make music in that kind of style, but you know, once in a while, if I hear something that's, you know, comforting or just great to hear, you know, outside the genres I would listen to, Burt Bacharach is always a really good time. Mindful28, I got one record recently. It's Modest Mouse's Good News for People Who Love Bad News. I have been thinking about getting into Modest Mouse, but I'm not a big listener when it comes to, you know, Midwest emo type of stuff. Not that I don't like it, but I rarely listen to that type of stuff. Zach, I'll read your first music question after the update stuff, if that's all right. You said, last CD I think I bought was Mesmerized by System of a Down. That is a brilliant album from System. For me, System have never made a bad album. And still, this album is one of the most underrated follow-up albums. But Mesmerize is an excellent album. Mindful28 says Mesmerize is an underrated System of a Down album. I have a shirt of that album cover. I love Darren's father's artwork for that album and Hypnotize. I've only got a couple of CDs, but they are from a band that I'm really glad to have the complete discography for on CD, and that band is Alice in Chains. This is The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. I remember this album when it first came out, and I really like the album. I think that this is a really good follow-up after the Lane Staley period, after the self-titled album. There's some really, really good stuff on this album. Choke is great, and Phantom Limb, Hung on a Hook. Hollow, in my opinion, is one of my favourite later Alice in Chains tracks. Stone is brilliant. I know there's the red coloured album cover of this, which I thought I was going to get that version, but I quite like this album cover better. You know, it's kind of like a better effect. So the packaging is not really that different, but you know, it's still an album that I definitely like quite a lot. Rainier Fog, their latest album from a few years ago, was good. I enjoyed it, but I think this one is better. And the last CD to show for this small little update this time is an EP from Alice in Chains, and that is Jar of Flies. This incredible EP celebrated its 30th anniversary. And I don't mind telling you this, as much as that I really love a lot of the Dirt album, this EP features some of the best songs they've ever made. Obviously, we get the very, very moody and sad track of Nutshell. There's Rotten Apple, which is awesome, and I Stay Away. 30 minutes of, in my opinion, one of the best EPs that I had listened to. And what's also just crazy about this, they have made this EP in just 7 days. A week of making an EP. Insane. Billy Bishop, I'm doing good. I'm glad to hear you're doing the same. Welcome to the stream. I've seen some more of your comments, guys. Billy, by the way, I have not forgotten your long requested list for me to do of the top 10 favorite metal vocalists. I have been thinking about it, but it's going to take some time. It's not that hard, really, but I'll have to think of the permanent list of who are my top 10 favorites. Gonna go through the comments. Zach Hurley, how's it going? Great to see you as always, along with the others. Back to Zach D Productions comments. Devil Put Dinosaurs Here is solid, not their best, but good. Yeah, I really like the album. I would say the best Alice in Chains album is, you know, easily it's Dirt, but I think some of the self-titled and some from Facelift are just as great. But I would probably say that in terms of a release from Alice in Chains, this is probably my favorite. I need to get their other EP. I forgot what it's called. I know it's like one word, but I have forgotten about it. Let's see. Mindful 28, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here is one of Alice in Chains' most underrated albums. I would agree. Jar of Flies is a very good EP, and it's now 30 years old. Zach, Jar of Flies has some of Alice in Chains' best work. Rotten Apple, No Excuses, I Stay Away, great stuff. I love their MTV Unplugged live album. Yeah, everyone knows about Eric Clapton's Unplugged and Nirvana's Unplugged. They are great. But the Alice in Chains Unplugged, along with Pearl Jam to Neil Young, those three are my favourites in part of the MTV series. Mindful28 again. Have you heard Green Day's new album, Saviors? In my opinion, it's their best since American Idiot. It's way better than the highly disappointing Father of All. I have not been interested to come back to Green Day with the later direction, to be honest. Because with Father of All, to me, that's an awfully bad and weakly aged album that clearly sums up how appalling and generic Green Day have been. And Father of All is one of the worst records of the decade. Some people say it's not bad. That's fair enough. But as I used to be quite a big fan of Green Day, Father of All pissed me off. It was so bad. So I have not really had an interest to listen to Saviors. I have seen comments from other people saying the same thing as you, Mindful, that it's their best since their American Idiot. I don't really know. Best metal albums of 2024? Billy, it's not even the end of the year yet. And to be honest, guys, I have not listened to a lot of new albums because there's been stuff going on in my world outside of YouTube, especially for Hardgraft, my band. So I rarely have listened to a lot of 2024 albums. Let's see. Zach, Dirt is my favorite Alice in Chains album. I'm actually not big on the self-titled, actually. It's not bad, though. That's surprising. I really like Facelift as much as the self-titled. Self-titled does have some really underrated stuff. And there are some where they sound like pretty doomy and sludgy that I really like. Zach Hurley, I really need to check out more Alice in Chains. I've been into Nirvana recently, so I've got to check out more Alice in Chains. They are a great band, and I don't see Alice in Chains as grunge all the time. To me, they're not always a grunge band. Yeah, I know they're American. They're a part of that, grunge movement, but Alice in Chains are more sludgy. They're more of a bit of a metal sounding band. So that's why I think grunge has been, as a pretty great genre to begin with, but I feel that Alice in Chains are way more interesting. Besides that, I am a fan of Pearl Jam, and I like a lot of Soundgarden as well. And some of Alice in Chains' ballads, they're like, laid back, very moody styles. Zach D Productions again. Excuse me. I was about to say I don't think I've listened to any 2024 releases yet. That's fair enough. I only have heard of Saxon's new album, and it was brilliant. Brilliant album. Although I need to get into the new Judas Priest album when that's going to be out. I'm going to check out the Liam Gallagher and John Squire collaboration album. That's coming out tomorrow, actually. Judas Priest have their new album coming out soon, so I bet that'll be awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because they are one of my favorite bands of all time. Michael28 Saxon has an amazing new album. Have you checked it out? Yeah, I did. I know you reviewed Unleash the Beast a few years ago. Yeah, that was a part of the requested albums segment. I'll have to do that again, maybe. Zach Hurley, another hard rock band, Firewind, are releasing an album tomorrow, so that'll be awesome. I'm not a fan of Firewind. I don't dislike them, but I've never been a big listener to them. But I appreciate their talents. Zach D, Alice in Chains is pretty heavy for a grunge / hard rock band. Do you think Black Sabbath can be argued to be a prog rock band more than a metal band? This is a tense question with some of my friends. Black Sabbath, in my opinion, are not heavily into being involved as progressive rock. I think that's taken into something that I wouldn't personally accept. I don't think Black Sabbath are heavily involved in that style. Besides, Sabotage, in my opinion, does have proggy elements. My favorite Black Sabbath album, by the way. But in terms of the other albums, they are not a straight up progressive rock band. Sometimes they can be hard rock in places, like with the Technical Ecstasy album. But they're pretty much, involved in this classic rock heavy metal directions. Zach D, I am looking forward to the new albums from Judas Priest and POD this year. That's cool. Mindful28, my favorite metal album this year so far has been the new Job for a Cowboy album. It might be easy to write them off as another deathcore band, but they've been a tech death band lately. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I do not like to get into deathcore because the more I tried, to me it's just boring, and I have never gone through that one. The only deathcore band that I really thought is, listenable, but I actually like the brilliant talent with is Lorna Shore. I'm not a fan, but I respect a lot of what they've delivered. They are incredible musicians. Billy Bishop, Nutshell is considered a ballad from Alice in Chains and is being covered by other bands like Edema on their Insomniac Stream EP. Never heard of that version, but Nutshell is a fantastic song. Zach D, Black Sabbath might have prog influence, but I wouldn't call them a straight up prog band. No, I don't agree. If Black Sabbath would be sounding like a prog band, they will have to change the band's name. Let's go over to the questions now. Even though I have said, and read Deaton's comment, a question. Let's go up, find Zach's comment. So the first music question, I guess, when do you think Tool will release another album, or will they ever? Who knows what's going to happen? I know that Tool has been sometimes getting some flack for, being involved with begging, pleading people who are desperate for them to make another album. But I think the best part about Tool is it's not only that I'm a fan of the music, but they've always been as a mysterious band and as a a distinctive band. They're not like any other metal band when it comes to making music in their own styles. Um, but they have their own plans and ideas that have always been secretive that we don't know about. Um, Matt Evans, hi man. Do you like the Wild Hearts or the solo stuff from Ginger Wildheart? The man's a genius. Love your channel, dude. Cheers, Matt. I appreciate that. I think I have heard of the Wild Hearts, but I haven't got any of their stuff in the collection, so I might as well have to check out Ginger Wildheart. Yeah, I appreciate your support there. That you love my channel. Thank you very much. Mindful. The new Judas Priest is one of my most anticipated albums. I've loved all 4 singles released so far. I think I only have heard 2. I'm one of those people that does not want to spoil my listening of new singles before a new album comes out, because I am a person who wants to be waiting until the full album gets released. But Invincible Shield with the singles, Judas Priest have impressed me a lot. Tool is definitely unique. Yeah, they are one of my favorite bands. And Lateralis is one of my favorites of all time. Let's see here. There's some more comments coming in. Mindful28, I'm actually going to look at that Slayer reunion question, because one of my followers, Pecky Peck, asked me the same question, so I'll read that in a minute. Mindful28, if Tool releases a new album soon, I hope it's better than Fear Inoculum. That was an album that was just okay. It didn't compare to Tool's first 4 albums. I really liked Fear Inoculum. And I'm going to be making quite a controversial comment. I prefer Fear Inoculum to Undertow. Undertow is a very good record, but the next 3 albums, Anima, Lateralis, and 10,000 Days, are better than the first album. But Fear Inoculum is never bad to me. And I think it was incredible that Danny Carey did an outstanding drumming performance of Pneuma. I think it was on Vic Firth's YouTube channel. Vic Firth, the drumstick company. Just to watch him play Pneuma is, mesmerizing. Fuck off, YouTube notification. But that's fair enough that you thought Fear Inoculum was just okay. Billy Bishop, Avenged Sevenfold is unique too. I guess, well, especially with Life is But a Dream. But I don't think they're as unique as other metal bands. That's just me. Thanks, bro. You're welcome, Matt. Billy Bishop again. Lateralis is one of my favorite Tool albums, as well as 10,000 Days. I think 10,000 Days is a really, really, really good follow-up to, Lateralis. But Lateralis is my personal favorite Tool album. Anima could have been a close second, but I like how different 10,000 Days is. I really appreciate their identity as a band to begin with, despite some of the toxicity of their fan base. some of them are just out of control. um, By 28, Lateralis is also one of my favorites. Anima is my favorite Tool album. That's a great album. What's your opinion of King Crimson and or Robert Fripp? I think No Pussyfooting between Fripp and Eno might be one of my most frequently played albums. Well, to tell you the truth, I am a big fan of King Crimson. I love King Crimson very much. They're one of my all-time favorites. And I have some of their albums on vinyl, most of them on CD. I love Robert Fripp. And No Pussyfooting by Fripp and Eno. I love Brian Eno as well. I have No Pussyfooting on original vinyl. My favorite King Crimson album is Discipline. But the other albums that I love, I consider to be classics, obviously In the Court of the Crimson King, Lark's Tongues in Aspic, and I think Islands is one of them as well. I have done a tier maker ranking of King Crimson's discography if you are interested to check it out. Mindful28, are you a fan of Run the Jewels? I know you picked up their debut in an update one time. I think Run the Jewels is great. They're just so cool. They're one of my favorite newer hip-hop groups. Zach D, Laterals and Anima fight for being my favorite Tool album. King Crimson is good. King Crimson is my favorite progressive rock band besides Pink Floyd, although I love a lot of Yes and Genesis. I See the Power to Believe, Mindful28 says. That's an overlooked album. That is one of my favorite King Crimson albums. And I think I have said this before on my Pink Floyd re-ranking video, that I think The Power to Believe by King Crimson is one album that is aging a lot better than the Endless River from Pink Floyd. Billy Bishop, I love Discipline by King Crimson because of Mate Gudazzi. I love the whole album. Sedition Through Scorns, running a bit late today, but hopefully everyone is well. And talking about music is, of course, the greatest thing known to man. It always is the best thing, Jake. Mindful28, Trivium and Bullet for My Valentine are touring next year in celebration of the 20th anniversaries of The Poison and Ascendancy. Are you looking forward to that tour? That was really cool. And Ascendancy has been my favorite Trivium album, and The Poison has been my favorite Bullet for My Valentine album besides Scream, Aim, Fire. But I think Trivium are a stronger band than Bullet for My Valentine. But that's really cool. They have made a great plan to celebrate strong albums in their separate discographies by touring. Zach, Rush is definitely my favorite prog rock band. Yeah, I forgot about Rush. My bad, because I love some of their stuff as well. Zach Hurley, if Slipknot reissue self-titled on CD again for the 25th anniversary, will you get it? I think Clowns said they will reissue it. Taken it'd be out June 29th if I had to guess. June 29th was the date 1999 that the first album came out. I don't see it happening of releasing a 25th anniversary because, you know, I have the digipack of the 10th anniversary. But if they're releasing it, might as well, just to grow my Slipknot collection. Zach Hurley at Mindful28, I saw that. I was there for the announcement live stream. That's really cool. Mindful28, Bullet for My Valentine went downhill after Scream, Aim Fire. Venom was the only album after that I enjoyed. I think Bullet for My Valentine went downhill with Temper Temper. I still really don't like that album. I thought Fever was a good album. I tried to, get that nostalgia back from their latest album that came out, but it was just not meant to be for me. Some Bullet fans say that's their strongest album in ages. I don't see it that way. I don't think Bullet for My Valentine have really been a band that I will be thinking about in the favoritism anymore. I used to love that band, but I still have the first 3 albums on CD. Excuse me. Gravity, another terrible album, but the self-titled, I think it was, self-titled Bullet for My Valentine album, I can't get into the whole thing. It was a big mixed bag. Yeah, it's better than the previous 2 albums, but that's my difficult relationship I have with Bullet for My Valentine now. Billy Bishop, Bullet for My Valentine is awesome, except Temper Temper. I think Bullet for My Valentine are still a great band for who they are and what they do, but the earlier stuff, to me, has been better in terms of consistent hooks, and the first 2 albums are the band at their strongest. Let's go to the comments from my announcement video. 2 questions from Zach Hurley. Did you see about the new Trivium and Bullet for My Valentine tour in 2025? I've already answered that question, Zach. Zach, I feel like most bands' earlier stuff is their best. Yeah, I would say so. But some bands who have been progressing, who've got better and better through later albums, to me, that is a sign of, huge improvement of things and a big progression. Any shows and albums you are excited for this year? For shows, I am going to be seeing Slipknot, I think, for the last time in December. And I'm going to be seeing Tenacious D for the first time in May. Don't say my bad, Zach. It's all good. Albums, I'm looking forward to the new Judas Priest. Let's have a look at some of the new albums I'm anticipated for. I've mentioned about Liam Gallagher and John Squire. I think that Jesus and Mary Chain are releasing a new album. I think it's a new album. Some live albums. I'm just looking at the upcoming section on my Rachel Music account. Some live albums. From The Who to the Rolling Stones. Blaze Bayley, I need to get the new album. Zach Hurley, you're seeing Slipknot in Birmingham. Let's just say, I don't know where you'll be once we enter the venue. I have no idea where you'll be. But yeah, I need to get Blaze Bayley's new album as well. I've heard a few tracks so far. Mindful28, do you think Nickelback deserves all the hate they get? They're not a good band, but I also don't think they're the worst either. They are not the worst. They're not the worst band ever. But I just think, Nickelback is just a complete meme band just because of the unanimous amount of hate they've been getting. I think Nickelback's later stuff has been so generic but not unlistenable. It's just that Chad has been an atrocious lyricist for the later stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't think Nickelback are the worst band ever. But that's all I personally would like to say about the band. Yes, Zach D. Circle of Stone, I think, is Blaze Bayley's new album. It's. You also said it's rare for bands' later material to be the best. Yeah, sometimes it's pretty difficult for bands to get to where they need to go. Depends on obviously the creativity of the music and with the general public's reaction. Um, Jordan, Scream from Volume 3 might be my favorite Slipknot B-side. Yeah, that's a really good Slipknot track. Billy, Slipknot have not confirmed their new drummer yet. I think it's annoying that people have already said, Eloy Casagrande is now Slipknot's new drummer. Stop thinking about that, people. He's not confirmed yet. No one's Slipknot's new drummer, but it's obviously a huge moment that we think that Eloy is going to replace Jay Weinberg. I got a free ticket to see Disturbed 2 weeks ago, and I was pleasantly surprised. Totally hated the opening band. Oh no! Falling in Reverse supporting Disturbed? Terrible choice of support. Even though Ronnie Radke praises Disturbed, good for him. Totally hated the opening band Falling in Reverse though. Can't get into much of this emo scene. But Ronnie Radke, what a disgusting disgrace that man is, with his attitude, especially with his attention-seeking behavior. I just wish that he just needs to stop making so many bloody outbursts and help himself with his mental health. Kanye West is, completely all over the place. He's just such a mentally unstable person. But Ronnie Radke, if anyone likes what Ronnie Radke's has been saying that has been so offensive and so egotistical and completely big-headed negative attitude, then I don't know what to say. And Falling in Reverse, as a band, they're shit. That's my opinion. Falling in Reverse have never been a listenable band for me, not because of Ronnie Radke, but the thing is, I cannot have an interest to get into a band whose frontman is that notorious, and he's a complete piece of shit. Ronnie Radke is. I don't care what any fan says about Falling in Reverse. If they like the music, if they like the band for their music, that is fine. Good for these people. But Ronnie Radke, he's one person that pisses me off. He needs to grow up. Zach Hurley, I'm over by Mick's side since he's my favourite member. Yeah, Mick Thompson, really good, brilliant member of Slipknot. Mindful 28, yes, Bruce Dickinson's got a new solo album coming out. I forgot about that. I haven't heard any of Bruce's solo stuff, to be honest. Let's go back to the questions. Pecky Peck's questions. I'll get back to your comments on this stream, guys. Whether he'll be watching this or listening to this stream, hearing my voice, I'm just going to read them out. Will you be listening to the Liam Gallagher and John Squire album? Absolutely. I would like to check it out. Will you be listening to Kerry King's solo material? And did you like his new single? No, I've not listened to it. I don't mind when metal musicians form solo projects or different bands of their own choice, in their separate directions after being in, a major big band. But I've not heard of Kerry King's solo material. Do you like Tom Petty's song Love is a Long Road? I am not a fan of Tom Petty, but I really respect him as a musician. He's one musician that had a lot of gifted talent, and he's a really iconic solo artist that definitely deserved the praise. The last question, which could be another video for another day, but what do you think about the Slayer reunion? So I know one of you guys asked about the Slayer reunion. I think the Slayer reunion, I was really surprised when it was actually announced. Now there's some talks, about Tom Araya's wife, who's the person people think that she was responsible for Slayer's reunion to happen, but who knows what went on to make the reunion happen. I think it is good for them, but it's not to me that special. Slayer are one of my favorite bands, but the Slayer reunion, if they want to do it, good for them. But at least it's more or less like it's more of a band than the Pantera reunion. So I wish Slayer the best, but I was really surprised when Slayer got back together after 5 years. And with that being said, that is that for the questions. Now let's go over to the comments you guys have been sending in. Zach D, I think bands like Killswitch Engage and Demon Hunter are examples of bands that might have better later material. I like their old stuff too, though. I can't say a lot about Demon Hunter, but Killswitch Engage are one of my favorite few metalcore bands. I think they were really good from the start to today. I've heard of Ronnie Radke. I guess he likes to run his mouth. He really does. Billy Bishop, when's the Institute by King Diamond coming out? I've heard Masquerade of Madness by his solo band, but when is the new King Diamond album coming out? Does anyone know? No comment. I'm not a fan of King Diamond. Shocker, I know, for some fans. So I can't really answer that comment. I didn't really know that he's going to make a plan by releasing a new King Diamond album. Mindful28, how do you feel about Burzum? It's well known that Varg Vikernes is a terrible human being, but a lot of black metal fans enjoy Burzum. Yeah, I do love some black metal. I think some of Burzum's black metal stuff's great. I still remember that I did not like some of the later ambient stuff. I'm a fan of the ambient genre, but I never got into what the ambient stuff Varg has been experimenting with. It's not to me one that I see as interesting. So I am a fan of some of Burzum's stuff, but I prefer others. Dayton, you just made my afternoon hearing your rant about Radke. It is a shame that Falling in Reverse was the opening band for Disturbed, and you confirmed all of my emotions about Radke. You're doing the Lord's work. I'm just speaking my mind. I'm speaking my mind about that piece of shit person. And, with my opinions, obviously they're not facts, but they're my opinions about Ronnie Radke. I don't care that there are fans of Falling in Reverse, because they should just care about the music rather than the garbage that Ronnie's been spitting out. Don't mean to be all, really heads up and, pissed about it, but, Ronnie Radke, to me, is one of the worst personalities of today in music. If any Falling in Reverse fans will be reading, well, not reading, but hearing what I've been saying, not that I don't think there are any Falling in Reverse fans watching this, but, I don't care. I don't care. I've been speaking my mind about Ronnie, who's one of the worst people in today's industry. Excuse me, but he's a complete waste. Yeah, Mindful28, can't stand Falling in Reverse, and Ronnie Radke is a terrible person. I've already read that, actually. My bad. My late mother liked Tom Petty. That's nice, Zach. Guys in the chat, can you send your support and send hearts for Zach D Productions, please? Because Zach has been going through a really tough time because 2 family members of his passed away recently, and he has been dealing with co-workers who've been mistreating him when he decided to quit his job. I know that's his business rather than ours, but we need to show our appreciation that Zach is a great friend of ours and a supporter of loving music, and to share whatever frame of mind of words that he has to say. Zach Hurley also heard that clown said Joey Jordison was not a forming member of Slipknot, which I think was not a good move for him. To be honest, I don't care what clown thinks. But I know for a fact that Joey was one of the founding, most important members of Slipknot. To say that he's not a forming member, he has his own opinions, but in my opinion, and for the fact as well, Slipknot would not be Slipknot without Joey Jordison. Because some of you guys may not know this. If you know about the very early history of Slipknot, it was Joey that came up with the name Slipknot to be selecting that name as the band name. He decided to call the band Slipknot by his choice after the song Slipknot. That was before the beginning of Mayfield Kill Repeat. Before that demo had, become a thing. And Joey deserves more credit and respect for being not only a influential and an acclaimed drummer, but Joey Jordison was absolutely one of the innovators in the band's music. Billy Bishop, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, especially for Varg from Burzum. Mindful28, I know Ministry is releasing a new album tomorrow. I haven't been a fan of New Ministry, but I'll still check it out. Fair enough. Moral Hygiene, I can't get into that album. Never been a fan. It's just so average. Zach D Productions, my friend on YouTube, Brian Delivers You the Goods has made a ton of rants on Ronnie Radke, entertaining stuff. Good for him, because if he's speaking out the truth, if he's speaking out some facts, I guess that he deserves the appreciation. Billy Bishop, again, Emperor is my favorite black metal band because of In the Nightside Eclipse. That masterpiece is 30 years old, and it is one of my favorite black metal albums of all time. Mindful28, Emperor is my favorite. Hang on. Yeah, same comment like Billy's. Emperor is your favorite black metal band, Mindful28, and In the Nightside Eclipse is your favorite. Yeah, love that record. Mindful again, I see Alcest on the shelf behind you. They've got a new album coming out too. Yes, I was really pleased. Alcest are one of my favorite bands, and their second album is, to me, my favorite. I grew to love that album very much. I am looking forward to hear what Alcest are going to say in terms of their art, their music, and as a band. You know, it's so good that you know, Alcest are one of those bands who have absolutely been, you know, building their material further and further, despite my disappointment of Shelter from 2014. I think their discography is excellent. I would like to check out Shelter again and maybe have a re-evaluation of my experience with the album. Now that I love shoegaze for quite a long time now, and Shelter is more or less, you know, around that similar style, but with the second album to the later stuff, I just think they were a better form and style for Alcest. No, Billy, Alcest was not a death metal band. They are a black gaze band. So I guess a bit of the shoegaze, but with some more of the black metal stuff. Mindful28, I'm heading out right now to cook dinner with my family, but this was a fun stream. Hope you all are doing great. Thank you very much for being here, Mindful28. I really appreciate it. And just keep doing what makes you happy. Thank you for your support, as always. But yeah, I am looking forward to have a listen to Alcest's new album. And besides going into records from Blaze Bayley, Judas Priest, Alcest are one of those bands that I have been appreciating a lot better. Zach D, thoughts on the band Incubus? I got into them this year. I really like Incubus. I have seen Incubus once, and it was late 22, where they played, I think, Morning View in its entirety, and they've played some of the other songs afterwards. Morning View made me a new fan. I love that album. Morning View became one of my all-time favorite albums. I have Science on CD. Make Yourself, I think that's one of the albums before Morning View. That's excellent as well. I wasn't really sure what to think of Incubus before I went to see them. But when I listened to Morning View for the first time after I bought it on CD, I was really impressed. And then I fell in love with the album. The crowd was the most beautiful crowd I've ever listened to, because they all knew the words, they sang along, they're so supportive, they are beautiful. singing these words to Incubus. They are still around, Zach. They are planning to release a new anniversary a new recording of Morning View. Jordan, agree about Joey, but I think Clown was referring to a pre-Slipknot band from '93. That's where that were thought to be named Painface. I don't think there was a band with Slipknot members um, before Slipknot became a thing. But I think Painface um, I think Painface is more or less Anders Karlsefni's uh, later project, because Painface was a band that came around after his time with Slipknot. And Joey was in different bands before he was in Slipknot. Same with the other members. So I think Painface wasn't the band that was around before Slipknot. I believe it was. I think it was Meld. I may have to look it up, but I think, yeah, I think it was that band name. There's always that part of their very early story that it did get confusing for some. But Painface wasn't a band before Slipknot became a thing. As I think that's the right way of correcting it. Zach, oh, that should be cool. Morning View is probably my favorite album from the band. Excuse me. Make Yourself. Yeah, I was right. Make Yourself and Science are also solid. Yeah, Make Yourself is really, really good. I have only played Science once, um, but from what I've heard, get out. From what I've heard, I enjoyed Science. Morning View, in my opinion, though, is the band at their best. Let's put that back in there. If I can. Yeah. Zach Hurley, anyone here into Dimmu Borgir? Yes, I really like the band. I have some of their albums on CD, but I am a rare listener when it comes to some symphonic black metal. They're one of my favorites in, well, just the subgenre of black metal as a whole. Dayton again. What are your thoughts on Kekagaku? Fuck's sake. Kekagaku Moyo. My favorite album of theirs is House in the Tall Grass. Do you have any records for psych rock bands like KM? I have actually never heard of them, so I can't really have a comment to answer the band question there. So apologies. If I have any records for psychedelic rock bands, in terms of lesser known or underrated, lesser known psychedelic rock bands, not really, because I have a lot of the more popular and more common psychedelic rock records from the obvious greats. Zach is a fan of Dimmu. That's cool. Zach D. Morning View has some of their best songs. Nice to Know You, Wish You Were Here, Warning, Echo, 11 a.m., etc. Yeah, I think Morning View is just timeless, and Just a Phase is one of the best Incubus songs as as well that I just adore. But Nice to Know You is my favourite Incubus song. Billy Bishop, favourite Dimmu Borgir album, anyone? I think it has to be Stormblast. The original version, not the re-recording. Stormblast is my favourite Dimmu album. Some of the later stuff, to me, are just as awesome. I just have no idea why they decided to re-record Stormblast, as it's one of my top 5 black metal albums of all time. And I think it is sometimes very rare when bands in that genre would want to re-record an album that's already, in my opinion, awesome. Zach D. All right, Greg. Well, I'm about to head out. You take care, man. You too, Zach. I hope you feel better soon, buddy. And we'll see each other again, either on a YouTube video that I post, or a live stream, or whenever you want to collaborate. So you take care of yourself. Zach Hurley, I like Darkness Triumphant, I think it's called. I think that's one of their albums. Let me look it up. Enthroned Darkness Triumphant. So you're really close there. One of my favorites is Spiritual Black Dimensions, and also Puritanical Euphoric Misanthropia. That's another excellent Dimmu album. Yeah, that's the one. So how are you guys doing? And I hope you guys are doing well amongst yourselves. As I said earlier, before I went on to the questions, I've been doing stuff in terms of productivity, focusing on myself, for positivity to increase back up, and as well as with the music, I've been getting that back to work on that even further and harder. Jake, I'm planning on attending to a show around my birthday month and going to see one of my favorite death metal bands of all time, and it'll be a great thing. Looking forward to do. Yeah, that is going to be hopefully a mega fun birthday for you, Jake, and I hope it'll be a blast for you. Data, my morning jacket is from my city, and Jim James occasionally comes down to the local dive and plays at open mic nights. I love their stuff, especially It Still Moves. My girlfriend thinks they're boring, though. I don't think I am familiar with that open mic thing. Yeah, Jim James. Yeah. But yeah, I guess different opinions. Well, obviously they do matter, but not everyone can really buy the same taste as other people's. Dayton, love this channel. So glad you're doing these types of videos. We'll definitely be on the lookout for the next Q&A. Yeah, that's very cool of you to say that. I've just seen a notification that Zach has decided to stream on his YouTube channel. Fair enough. Zach sending, excuse me, Zach sending an early happy birthday to Jake. Speaking of Dimmy Borgir, they are currently in the studio making a new record. That's awesome. And it'll go back to their earlier works from Stormblast and Enthroned Darkness Triumphant type of material. Oh, that's pretty anticipating. If they're going to do that, then I will say I bet it will be something that is it's going to be really cool, because some of the early stuff of Dimmu Borgir has just been, in my opinion, some of my favorites when it comes to the ongoing, later progressing direction of black metal. And symphony black metal is a great addition to, develop the style and make it as dramatic and really, I would say, not progressive, but really quite unique. Jordan again, there's two black metal bands I know and love, Windir and Bathory. I've never heard of that band, but Bathory, I do enjoy some Bathory for a bit as well. It's been a while since I've listened to any black metal, to be honest with you guys. I don't have a lot, but I do enjoy a lot of what's been going on when it comes to the obvious giants of the genre. Burzum's been mentioned, Dimmu Borgir, Emperor, but I think my favorite black metal band is maybe Darkthrone, even though obviously the later stuff does sound like pretty different stuff, but I think they are as a unique band in the genre. Yeah, Zach is streaming, and that's really cool that there's anybody who will come to the stream and send support for him. Sorry guys, it just went off topic. But there you go. Jake, Windir is more melodic side of black metal with Scandinavian influences of folk metal, kinda like a mixture of Dissection, Bathory, Moonsorrow, and Immortal. Definitely check them out. Okay, that's something that is going to be interesting to have a look at. Thoughts on Suffocation's new album, Hymns from the Apocrypha from 2023? From Billy. It was an honorable mention to be added as one of my top 20 of last year. It's a very good album. I like it. The vocalist from Disgorge is the new vocalist for Suffocation, and he was awesome. I think it's a very good album, but it's not one of my most favorite Suffocation albums. I am more of a person who always wants to, stick to the earlier stuff. But I know when Pinnacle of Bedlam came out, that was like Suffocation in my opinion, at one of their stronger efforts. And Suffocation are one of the top 5 bands in the genre as well. Jake, Pierce from Within and Blood Oath are my favourites, but there's no weak Suffocation album personally. That's fair enough. I haven't heard everything from the band yet, but my favourite is always going to be Effigy of the Forgotten, which I think that one is one of the first, or maybe the first, that had made like a bit of a pioneering moment of slam metal, because of the way it sounds. And that album is my favorite death metal debut. I always really do love listening to that album because it gives me nostalgia, and the reflection when it was like an early, later on, growing respect and appreciation to get into the genre. I wasn't into the genre to begin with, but I had memories of listening to Suffocation and then really liking the death metal genre better, along with Cannibal Corpse and Nile. So yeah, I think I do owe Suffocation, along with those other 2 bands, a lot when I wanted to get into the genre. I love Effigy of the Forgotten, Billy says. By Suffocation, I have it on CD. I have it on CD as well. Sedition Through Scorns. Jake again. I remembered meeting Frank Mullen and Terence during Frank's final tour, and I nearly broke down as I told him they were my first old school death metal band I ever heard at an early age. That is beautiful and meaningful to say to one of your idols. And, you know, when bands hear those words, it's like they have done a special moment to connect a listener in a very personal way. And that obviously says something meaningful, that, you know, listening to metal and other genres, it's not only for art's sakes, but it's also for knowing that humans can develop a piece of material that has been an influence for anyone to create and to be making art as important. And genres, I think genres that have made a great impact for any listener, they are the people who keeps these genres as stable and as so relevant. Jake again, it's the same how I was when I met Travis Ryan of Cattle Decapitation, Trevor Strand from Black Dahlia Murder, Sven from Aborted, and Matt of Cryptopsy, to name a few I've always admired. Billy Bishop, favourite Suffocation drummer, Mike Smith is a hell of a drummer with his blast beats and stuff. I always love Mike Smith the most, but with the later musicians in Suffocation, I think they have been as brilliant and skillful into continuing the domination and the precise technicality as Suffocation always have been delivering for years. Notifications again. But yeah, I think it's a gift when you are an artist or a musician for being in a band that has been so optimistic. And when you are optimistic, if you have something that has inspired you to create something as, I would say, as original but in as dedicating way as possible, you know the progression's going to become, very high as you develop, because once you develop into whatever type of music you make, it absolutely will be so worth it when people give you the respect and they share your appreciation to not only support your art, but to support the genre as well. Hang on a minute, guys. I thought I heard some noise. Sorry, guys. Cup of tea here. Cup of tea for me. Thought I heard Roscoe whining a bit. Hot. Place the tea on top of really old used string packets. Jake again, are there any live CDs or DVD recordings you feel don't get much credit across the music spectrum that fans should dive into? That is a very good question, actually, because I'm a music fan who actually doesn't watch a lot of DVD or CD recordings of live stuff. Some live stuff's absolutely awesome. I'll give you one. I think one of the best examples. Not that this is the band at their peak, but it's through a much later stuff of direction for Black Sabbath. And I know this is from, excuse me, in my eyes and ears, one of my favorite periods of Black Sabbath. I think some of this stuff is great to check out. This is Cross Purposes Live. This is a video of the show. As you see, it says CD and video double pack. Well, I have already got Cross Purposes separately, but I think Cross Purposes Live is just great. That, the Tony Martin period has always been so overlooked. But look at the track listing on this, right? Excellent. Even though I think it was Sabbath Bloody Sabbath that they didn't play that all the way through. They did a bit of Heaven and Hell, but again, they didn't play all of that. I've only watched it once, but I really like this concert a lot. Billy Bishop, do you have Rainbow's Rising album, Greg, still? Of course I have. Rising is a classic. I wouldn't give it away. I wouldn't sell it, because that's one of the top 5 heavy metal albums. If you know Rising, you know Ronnie James Dio is on that album. To be honest, if you're a metal fan, if you know and love an iconic album, who does not know one of the most incredible, melodic, and legendary metal vocalists? Dio is one of the best vocalists ever. And Rising is my favourite Rainbow album. I think after the Dio stuff, I'll have to check them out. Besides that, I already know Since You've Been Gone. I always thought that was very cheesy. A song from the Down to Earth album after Dio left Rainbow to join Black Sabbath. So, and obviously with Dio as a solo artist. But yeah, Rising actually, the more I think about that album, I would love to review it for Classic Albums Revisited, and yet people always say that Rising is one of the greatest for Ronnie vocally, and you know, it's a no-brainer. It is 100% one of the best. One of the best albums for the vocals around Dio in their style, Rainbow as a band, and with Dio being just incredible. You know, you can't go wrong with every single song on the album. It's not just because of Dio, though. It's also with Cozy Powell, Richie Blackmore. You know, the whole lineup. This is the band as one of the greatest pieces of music of all time. I'm trying to find it now. That was the fucking chair. Keeps squeaking. Fuck's sake. Where is it gone? No, I can't see it, guys. My bad. I'm going to go to the loo, guys. Feel free to ask me anything during this time. I'm going to leave for like a minute, and I'll be right back. Bear with me, guys. Right. Right, I'm back. Zach Hurley again. Not sure if I've asked this before, but are you much of a fan of Mudvayne? I like Mudvayne. They are not a band that I would listen to so much, although I loved the LD50 album. So I do enjoy some Mudvayne. I think they are one of actually the most underrated metal bands. So they don't really get a lot of the appreciation. And I know that they were a part of the new metal movement, I guess, but they're not always new metal. Sometimes it can be pretty groovy. But yeah, I enjoyed Mudvayne's early work. It was pretty cool that they actually got back together, to be honest. I was, as surprised about Mudvayne coming back together more than Pantera. Zach Hurley again. I think Clown helped with the production of LD50 and helped them play with Slipknot and grow as a band. Let's have a look at the production of LD50. Personnel. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know about that. So Sean Clown Cran is one of the executive producers. Garth Richardson's the producer, who also produced albums for Melvins to Rage Against the Machine. Oh, come on. I can't believe he produced 2 Trapped albums. Spine Shank are, oh my gosh, they are very underrated. Skunk Anansi, okay. Yeah, he also produced Low by Testament. So he's done quite a lot of albums in production for the bands. Right. Pretty chill time, guys. But thank you very much, as I always say, for being here. I think I'm going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. Because it's going to be nearly 10 o'clock in the evening. And I might as well see some more questions just to keep this up and rolling. I think I'd like to see a Mudvayne and Slipknot tour someday. Whenever that's going to happen or not, I don't really know. We shall see. But if not, that's fine. Yes, of course, man. Enjoyed it very much. Cheers, Zach. So, last call, guys, for the Q&A stuff. Unless you just want to hang out. But I do have to think about if I would still like to do more of these streams. One stream every 2 months. I think I would like to do it, but if there's any changes in terms of stuff outside of YouTube for being in the band, for being in the band to other stuff, I'll have to let you guys know on that. Any plans with Hardgraph this year, like recording an EP or anything else? We are not at that stage yet. We've just made another original song. We only have a few, but I'm performing a gig this Sunday. I am looking forward to play the brand new original, and I really want to get it recorded. And once it's recorded, if I'm happy with it, I'm going to let you guys know about it through a community section post on my channel for you guys to see my band's YouTube channel. By the way, if any of you guys have Instagram, it's hargraphs.band. So there's no capitals, there's no spaces. If anyone wants to check the stuff on Hargraph's few posts at the moment on Instagram, then feel free to do so. Jake again, have you dived into more solo artists lately? If so, anyone on your radar you want to discover or give more of an insight based on their sound and progression? I've been meaning to get into Tim Hecker because I have always really liked a lot of the sounds from other people of what he is developing through a different album. And the album Virgins is one of the wish list albums for me. And Rave Death 1972. I'll have to get into Tim Hecker properly, but I have always been so familiar with his name, but not heard of the music yet. Zach, awesome man, have fun. Thank you very much, Zach. So I'm very very confident to go into a permanent potential new direction and share what's in store for a new audience, because that is something that I have always been thinking about doing for quite a long time now. Zach again, if Hargraph was to ever record an EP, would you ever want physical copies of it, like CDs for it? I am confident that if we go to that direction, I am so ready, to make an EP, because EPs, obviously costs money to print out physical pressings and stuff, with all of these manufacturing facilities, especially for vinyl. But for EPs, I think that is the way to go first off. I wouldn't want to go straight into it with, a debut album. I think it's just reached the new direction for a lot of bands nowadays, in today's generation, where they can be creating music and then record it either at their house or in a studio and release it independently. I am hopefully will be leaning forward to go into it with a new experience and an open mind, because I have always been dreaming about being such a determined, and always has been a determined, but a big workaholic type musician, that I want to make it work. And I, despite will know to have to deal with the difficulty around the industry the way it has been for years, I personally don't care what the obstacles are going to be, because I've always been so optimistic of where I want to go. So I would take things slow, because with an original that has been created, not recorded, hopefully not yet, but to also dive into a newer phase of working harder and then discover new things, which would involve even more work for the band, in terms of a possible permanent direction. I really want to get that ball rolling. I want to get that going. Zach again, awesome man. I definitely get a copy if you ever get to that point. But yeah, I really hope that will work. I hope that will work. Because, it's not only just because it's a dream of mine, but it's something that I have always been thinking about doing. I took music so seriously that I have been building my reputation as a musician and as a guitarist, even further. And there is always a moment to me when I think of a creative spark. I really want this new track to be performed very well, which I bet it will, and I am so anticipated to let it go with the flow and see what happens. And with that being said, I am ready to give it a go, but I am not stopping. If something gets in the way, I'm not stopping, because I am always this focused that with a piece of music that I make, if it gets in people's heads, if it goes in through a new inspiration for a new audience, if it does develop a new reputation for a bigger following, then that is gonna be rewarding. And yet, personally, it would be something that I will cherish. The gift is there, but it's the sound that has to be casting out to a brand new potential permanent choice. I'm looking forward to where that's going to go. I'm sure it will. You're dedicated, and you have a dream, and that's what you all need. Indeed, that's what many bands do have, and I am so positive in myself that I do seriously want to invest in my own time to be heavily productive and share music that anyone would like. I'm anticipated, as I said a few times now, but the talent has always been there and shown throughout the many audiences that I've been involved with. But this is going to be a new beginning in my career that I am going to be developing even further. With that being said, guys, that is a wrap. Thank you very much, as always, for anyone who wants to participate in these types of streams. I am planning to, at some point, maybe stream again on Twitch. I will make a video on that. I know I haven't done a lot of album reviews lately, well, for more than a few weeks, nearly, but I've been busy, and I am still grateful to keep the channel up and running as best I can, and I want to still keep going strong. Right. I'm going to end the stream right here, and I am planning to do some new content on potential guitar stuff, to album reviews as per usual. You know the drill. Same stuff. The quality that you guys love. Zach, thank you for the stream, man. Have an awesome gig on Sunday. Thank you. Stay safe and keep on rocking. Cheers, mate. Matt Evans, cheers, Greg. Thanks all. Here's to the next live chat. Love that emoji. And same goes to everyone else out here. From Zach. Much love to you all. Do look after yourselves and keep it up with the positive mental attitude. Thank you all for watching, and I will keep you guys posted for more videos and for more of these live streams in the near future.